Hello, my name is Shaheewa Jarrett Gelin, and I'm the founder and president of the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce. Today's special program revolves around an important topic for small business owners, the very popular PPP program. But you will also learn about other SBA sources of funding. These programs have become vital to helping small businesses survive the disruption caused by the pandemic. I have a special guest today to help us navigate this topic that at times can be confusing to business owners. I am pleased to welcome Ms. Althea Harris Esquire, who is a supervisory outreach and marketing specialist for the SBA. Now, Ms. Harris has been helping businesses for over 25 years when she started her federal career in 1993 at the U.S. Department of Commerce under the late Secretary Ronald H. Brown. Then she helped small business owners compete for federal contracts while at the U.S. General Services Administration. Having held several positions with the SBA office in Miami since 1999, Althea now leads a marketing and outreach team serving 6 of the district's 24 county territory and advocates on behalf of over 500,000 small business owners in those counties. She is also the Faith and Community-Based Initiative Coordinator, a graduate of Howard University and the University of Miami School of Law. Go Althea! She is also active in her community, currently serving as a board member for Miami Youth for Christ and on the missions committee of Christ Journey Church in Coral Gables. She has also shared her time and talent with the board of the Girl Scouts Council of Tropical Florida and as a member of the Florida Bar's Grievance Committee. A Washington, D.C. native, Althea shares her life and love with her husband, Robert N. Harris, and who is a successful commercial litigation and labor and employment attorney in Miami. And they have 4 wonderful children. Well, I'm happy to welcome you here, Althea. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be with you, and I really appreciate the chance to maybe demystify all of the assistance that's available to small businesses so they can take advantage of it and really grow and move their businesses past the pandemic.
No, I love that. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, demystify it and get people to not be afraid and truly understand that there is help for their businesses in this difficult time. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'll pull up.
So I am with the U.S. Small Business Administration, and just so folks know, our mission is to help entrepreneurs start, grow, and succeed in business, and we advocate for them as well, inside and outside government. We do that primarily in 4 ways: by providing access to capital, access to high-quality counseling, training, and mentoring. We provide access to the over $800 billion annual federal marketplace. And when a disaster occurs, like a pandemic or a hurricane, we come in with long-term financial assistance directly to borrowers. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about when we talk about COVID-19 and the economic aid that's available because of the CARES Act that was passed in 2020 in March, signed by the president. And then again, the Economic Aid Act that was passed in late December that President Trump also signed. So we're going to talk about that.
Okay, I love that. And I love the fact that you're making sure people understand that there's aid, yes, specifically for this pandemic, but it's also available for other natural disasters that occur. I think to understand that. So here
That's right.
This is so
you know what, Shaheewa, what's funny about that is, we were better known, but not always really known for being helpful after natural disasters. Now I think no one will ever forget that we're involved in disaster recovery.
That is true.
So yeah, that's my family.
I love this.
Yeah, and that's my good-looking dog. He and I, we used to go running, but he's getting older, so now we walk. As fast as he can, and every day, because I do like working out and being fit. And, that's my crew right there.
I love it.
them.
That gives us a well-rounded view of who you are. You have this very important job of making sure small businesses get this, information. You have 28 years of federal service, and at the same time, while doing all of this, married for 25 years, and
Yeah.
this beautiful group of children, this beautiful family. So it's nice to
Thank
see.
you,
I
Fran.
love this. I love this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So I guess we'll go right into it and talk about the different programs that the SBA offers. So we'll start first, I guess, with the PPP. Tell us about that, since there's this additional round, and the law was passed, I guess, in in January. The program started once again, and so people are
Right.
all excited, trying to figure out what's going on with the program. So go ahead and let the small business owners know what they can expect from this program and what they should be doing to prepare for it.
Right. Well, the first round PPP that came out of the CARES Act in 2020 was successful, right? But at the same time, we endured a lot of criticism that the smaller small businesses did not get their share of PPP funds. But interestingly enough, Shaheewa,
Mhm.
the PPP of 2020 closed in August with $130 billion still available for
Wow,
small businesses.
wow, wow, wow.
So that tells us that, there were people who wanted the financing but couldn't get it for one reason or another. So the Economic Aid Act passed in late 2020 and implemented, as you said, in January, began with the commitment from SBA to make sure that the smallest small businesses had
Right,
first access.
right.
And so we're past that stage where the smaller CDFIs and micro lenders were able to make loans, and then we're now at the place where over 5,000 lenders
Okay.
nationwide are participating in the PPP, what is being called the second round, and I like to call it PPP 2021,
Okay.
right? Just to keep our years straight. Anyway, so yeah, small businesses can apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, which is a 100% forgivable loan
Okay.
if the business owner uses the monies appropriately. Now, what's great about the second round of PPP is that there is an expansion of the allowable expenses that
Oh,
can be paid, with
okay.
PPP. Now, it's still required that a minimum of 60% of the money be spent on payroll.
Okay.
You can use the other 40% for the same things you could before: mortgage interest payments,
Okay.
utilities, rent. Okay, and payroll being the fourth one. Now, you can spend the whole thing on payroll, and that's an easy way to make sure that you're going to get 100% forgiven.
Exactly.
Now, um, there's something called first draw and second draw. First draw means this is your first time getting the loan, first time ever. Now, if you got the loan last year, that was your first time.
Mm-hmm.
You can come and get a second loan. Now, in all cases, the loan amount is determined by your annual payroll costs divided by 12, right? Because we want to get your average cost,
Okay.
okay, of every month. Then you take that average monthly cost, multiply it by 2.5, and that gives you your maximum PPP loan amount.
Okay.
If you're in the food and accommodations sectors, this new legislation allows you to multiply by 3.5. So
Okay.
there's more money available to some of the hardest hit industries,
Yes.
like hotels, nobody's going anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and restaurants, who, while in some states like Florida, they're open, but in other states they're not. But in Florida, the capacity is limited, right, by social distancing. So they've been among the hardest hit. So this legislation contemplates that and allows for restaurants or the food sector industries and accommodations to multiply by 3.5. That's your loan amount. You'll need to obviously, because this is government, we like paperwork, right? You've got to have paperwork that shows, that proves, that
Right.
demonstrates that these are your average monthly costs, and you'll need to show those to your lender.
Okay. So what
And
does some of that
no
paper
exceptions.
look like? What does that,
Yeah.
some of that
So
documentation?
it's like if you use a payroll company,
Mhm.
they can shoot you a report just like that. No
Exactly.
problem. You show that, you're good. If you don't use a payroll company, maybe it's you and QuickBooks, right? Just
Right.
your QuickBook ledgers, your bank statements that show the money coming out of your account, or money coming in and money going out for
Right.
payroll. If
Very
you are a sole proprietor, all those kinds of, you're going to need tax returns that show, how much you have in income, your bank statements that show your expenses, the checks you wrote to yourselves, the whatever that show your payroll costs. So that's going to be different for everybody,
right.
depending on who they are, how they do their business and things like that.
Okay, perfect.
So the really important thing to know, Shaheewa, about the PPP is the deadline is March 31st.
Yes, very important to know. Thank you for reminding.
Shaheewa,
Mhm.
it's March 31st or until the money runs out.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so folks, do not delay. But also, right, I mean, because there is time.
Mhm.
So don't be hasty,
True.
is my tip for
Mhm.
you. Be deliberate, intentional, and moving forward in getting your application done, but don't be hasty. Why? Because you can do a calculation for your PPP loan amount based on your 2019 payroll costs or your 2020 payroll costs.
Okay.
I would say to you, whichever one is higher.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
so do the math. Okay,
Right.
I actually had a person call me the other day for a friend
A friend.
who, who applied for the PPP for the second time
Ah.
using 2019 numbers, realized his 2020 numbers were better, took the money already though, and wanted us to reconsider.
Oh,
We're
wow.
not doing that.
Right. No,
We
no.
have there are an estimated 31 million plus small businesses in America. Nobody's going back over that because you were
Right.
not careful.
Right. Right.
So be careful and move on. So March 31st or until the money runs out. So
Okay.
there are lots, like I said, over 5,000 lenders. You can find one to help you with that.
Right.
And incidentally, if you did get a PPP loan last year, 2020, it is not necessary for you to have forgiveness on that loan
Mhm.
before you apply for a second loan. So don't let that hinder you. You
Okay.
do need to have spent the money,
Okay.
but you don't have to have forgiveness yet. And
I'm glad
another thing,
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's important to know. A lot of people, have questions regarding, well, what if I applied already? Can I apply again? Are there limits with regard to if I can apply if I received over a certain amount of money? Are there new rules associated with people who applied last year and want to apply again?
right? No, well, there's some great benefits that have come out of the Economic Aid Act for people who applied last year or are applying this year. And two really important things.
Hmm.
And people who love accounting and paperwork and math and stuff, they'll love this.
Yeah.
You just love not paying taxes. This is for you. Number one, the Economic Aid Act said that PPP monies that you bring into your business are not taxable as
Mhm.
income. Yay! And on top of that, they said in the legislation that whatever you pay for with the PPP
Mhm.
money, your expenses, are still tax deductible, or you can list them on your taxes and get that off your taxes. So that's important because that was a big
It is.
question last
It is.
year. So that's good news for you. One other thing, and maybe we can touch upon it. Well, let's do it now. When it comes to forgiveness,
Mhm.
the SBA was deducting from your PPP forgiveness amount that economic injury disaster loan advance
Okay.
We were offsetting it, saying you could not double dip. Well, Congress said, no, 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 no.
Uh-oh.
And so they want us to not do that anymore. So if you got an advance last year and you already have forgiveness and now you have a loan because we offset it and that part wasn't forgiven,
Right.
we're going to catch that up and pay that off for you. So folks don't have to worry about that.
Oh, very
So
nice.
there was some cleanup job that was
Right.
done through the Economic Aid Act.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that's the PPP program, and your message is don't be hasty. Make sure you're getting your calculations right. You have your paperwork in order so that you will get granted. But at the same time, be very aware that there is a deadline at the end of March or until the money runs out. So you want to get your application in. Very good. Very good.
Correct. Oh, and then let me just say, the same people who were eligible last year are eligible this year.
Okay.
Sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed individuals,
Okay.
businesses of all types, partnerships, corporations, LLCs, nonprofits, don't forget you all. But this year, because of the legislation, housing co-ops are also eligible for PPP, chambers of commerce, destination marketing organizations, and some news outlets are eligible for PPP. So it's been expanded, and as I said, there's been an expansion of the types of things you can use PPP money for. Like if you had to ramp up and pay for PPE, the protection for your employees, or you had to outfit your business to protect, that's usable for PPP. And for those of you who were in areas that were affected by the summertime rioting, property damage that was done by rioters is covered under the PPP. So you can use up to 40% of that money on that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. That I know a lot of people don't know. So this is good. This is good. Thanks for sharing that. And I guess we'll get into another loan program, if you will, the debt relief on SBA 7A and 504 and microloans to kind of educate them about that opportunity there.
So that's a really quick thing. If you have an existing SBA guaranteed loan, whether it's a 7A loan, a 504 loan, or a micro loan, SBA is making your principal and interest payments for 6 months. You don't have to do anything. It's automatic, but check with your lender and make sure they are receiving those payments while you don't make payments. Right. Now, you can make payments if you want to. Right. It just means you're doubling down on your loan. But the point of that debt relief is to improve your cash flow right now. Right. So there have been, word on the street that some lenders aren't really playing nicely with that. So just, make sure you contact, if you have an existing SBA loan, just contact your lender. Hey, just want to make sure you're getting those payments from SBA. When did that start? So when you're 6 months.
Okay.
So that's that.
No, I like that. So make sure you're verifying, which kind of goes back to another point that I want to emphasize that you mentioned with the PPP, that you are applying for that program through your lender. And there are various lenders, as you mentioned, there are 5,000 or so lenders that individuals can go to in order to apply for the PPP. And at the chamber, we have a partnership with a local bank as well as a small institution that we can connect you with so that you can get your PPP application in. But it just always just a little confusion with people, especially if they're with a big bank. They're wondering, well, where do I go? And so, you're supposed to go to a bank. But maybe perhaps if you're not getting through to that larger bank where you may have an account, you may want to try a smaller bank, a smaller local bank, or a non-traditional.
Let me just jump on top of that, Shaheewa, because you're absolutely right. Under PPP last year, it was the smaller banks that were doing gangbusters. I mean, gangbusters in terms of the sheer volume. And so if you are a member of the chamber, I encourage you to work with, the lender who's a part of the chamber. The fact that they're at the chamber implies that they want to do business with you, that they want to support your business. It's easier, right, to be one in maybe 2 million
Exactly.
customers than one in 200 million
Yeah,
customers,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So yeah, and what we know from the smaller lenders, because I talk to them through these webinars and things, and I hear their presentations, they're able to give you personal service. I
Yep.
have heard many complaints of folks who, are putting messages in through the big bank channels and hearing nothing back. How can how can they possibly manage the capacity?
Exactly.
A
Exactly.
personal touch, not as easy.
No, and that's the point. So I'm glad you made that point. It is about the personal touch and getting back. I had a member that told me she got a message, a cryptic email in the beginning, say she was one of 72,000, and of course the list was growing, and she didn't hear back at all. But we were able to put her with uh, an entity that specializes in working with small businesses, women-owned businesses, not just during the pandemic, but even before. So it worked out. So I just wanted to emphasize that because that's a question we get at the chamber a lot. Well, how do I even apply? I'm not
Right.
hearing back from my bank, which is a larger bank. So make sure you're checking with smaller local banks as well, or you can just contact us and we can help you with that. I want to move on to another very popular program that a lot of our members applied for as well, the EIDL. And kind of remind people who are watching about that program as we are now in 2021 and let them know that's still something that's viable that they can apply for.
That's right. The SBA has been running the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program for decades. This is not new.
Right.
But it was just that most people never really accessed it. It was it's the smaller one compared to the physical damage loan program where, mudslides, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, flooding,
Right.
hail, damage. Folks know about that more, but
Right.
it's been around for a long time. It is a 30-year term loan,
Mhm.
low interest for the pandemic. It is 3.75% for
Mhm.
businesses and 2.75% for nonprofits.
Yeah.
The previous administration's SBA administrator, it was originally designed to close the opportunity to apply in December of last year. She extended it
Okay.
before she left office to the end of this year. So it is for your working capital, your ongoing working capital needs in your business. The maximum loan amount is $150,000. Not everybody gets that, but everybody gets 3.75% or 2.75% interest rate, simple interest. It doesn't compound. It's not like your student loans, Shaheewa.
Nice. Nice.
It's not like your mortgage where, you'll pay for it 3 times over. No.
Right. Exactly.
Nothing like student loan debt and mortgage debt.
Okay.
So it's simple interest, and you don't have to begin making payments for the first 12 months. And it's for your long term. It's for your short term needs, but you get long term debt. Nobody offers
Right.
those terms but us. Okay,
No,
so
absolutely not.
that's right. That's right. So now, what I really want to talk to you about is. Remember, I mentioned briefly the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance.
Yes.
That was a grant. If you notice on the slide that the EIDL Advance is a grant, not the first part is not a grant. That's why there's also that loan line attached to it.
Right.
But okay, so now we ran out of money with the Advance last year.
Okay.
Understandably, right? Because they
Right.
only gave us $10 billion. And did I mention there are over 31 million small businesses in America? Okay. And Congress, when they passed the CARES Act, said that SBA would give, upon request to small businesses, $10,000 within 3 days. Well, first of all, that's impossible.
And I heard
Impossible.
Where's the money? Where's the money? But
we got all those calls. Impossible. SBA is a small agency, and we did not literally have the manpower for that. And then there wasn't enough money for that. So SBA, in an effort to ensure that the money went as far as it possibly could,
Right.
Came up with a calculus that we would give out the money, the $10,000, by your number of employees. So if you had one employee, we gave you 1,000. If you had three, 3,000. Now, Congress said in the Economic Aid Act, no. That's not what we wanted.
Right.
And so we want you now to go back and in a targeted way, we want you to make up the balance of what you didn't give to folks who wanted 10,000. Okay.
Wow.
So that is now what's known as the targeted EIDL advance. Now, what is that? That, first of all, you have to have applied for it in the first place last year.
Okay.
If you didn't apply for it, nobody's contacting you. Okay. But if you did apply and you got some money and you're in what is determined to be a low-income community, your business is located in a low-income community as determined by the IRS code, and you suffered a 30% or more reduction in your business, and you have 300 employees or less, which is going to be a lot of folks, then you are on our list.
Okay.
To contact you. So if that describes you, look in your email. The email address you gave when you applied for the EIDL loan advance, look there, look in your spam, look everywhere, because it's by invitation only. So if you get that email, make sure you respond to it, and do not make any mistakes. Oh my God. Shaheewa? We're not entertaining. Oh, I mixed up the numbers for my bank account.
Right.
Okay. Well, listen, come on.
Yeah.
If you want this money, then do what it takes to get it.
Right.
Please.
Right.
I mean, I said last time around for this, for the EIDL, and I said, listen, treat your banking information, that routing number and the account number, like a winning lottery ticket. You know how you read it and you check and you read it and you check and you get somebody else to read it and check, do that, folks, because we're not going to entertain any conversations, any appeals, nothing, because there are too many people and finite amount of money. And, we're trying to make it right. So you participate, please, in making it right for yourself. Now, what are you going to need? You're going to need your 2019 tax returns. And you should have that when you're filling out the application. You're going to need your employer ID number or your social security number that you put onto your EIDL application, your EIDL application. You're going to need your monthly gross receipts from 2019, 2020, and January of 2021. You're going to confirm the information that you put on your application in the first place. And you're going to, once you send all of that to us, right, and you fill out this yes or no, there's like 23 questions, yes or no. You fill all that out. We're going to check. We're going to call the IRS because, we don't trust anybody anymore after last year with all the fraud that went on, right? We're going to get your transcripts from the IRS. And they better match what you gave us when you put in your application. And so you'll have to sign that you'll let us get the tax returns. Once we get all that and work everything out, then we're just going to drop the money into your account. So then just watch your account for that. All right. Only one EIDL advance per person.
Okay.
So,
2 or 3, just one.
Yes. So we're thinking it's going to take about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Once we get the IRS information. So
nice. I will say this, for obviously, there was a little bit of confusion. I understand you all were trying to get spread the money as widely as possible. That makes sense. That's logical. But I will say this, there were people that we helped, apply and told them about the advance. And when they got it, they were really pleasantly surprised when it was like, oh, this is a grant. I don't have to pay it back. So, it was a great help to many businesses that were able to get it. And so this is wonderful that you all are going to be able to go back if you meet those requirements and, give them the money up to the $10,000,
That's right.
Give them the difference. So that's wonderful.
So I would just say, look, if I've described you with respect to the EIDL targeted advance, do what you got to do to apply and have a plan for when the money shows up, right? Don't let that money hit your account, because the next thing you do is go buy yourself a new pair of shoes or a new suit, and that's fine if that's going to give you a return on that investment in your business, right?
Right.
But the point is to help you through the pandemic, and I just don't let money slip through your purse.
Yeah, especially because we, ultimately don't know how long this all is going to continue. So we have to be smart and very wise about making the proper investments and timely investments in our business.
Exactly.
So I want to go on to another grant program that I know a lot of people were watching and trying to figure out what the details are around the shuttered venue operators grant. So if you can go into that would be
sure. So that grant also came out of the Economic Aid Act, and it is a grant, does not have to be repaid, for live venue operators and promoters. So like if you host concerts, promote concerts, if you are a theater producer, you own a theater, a live performing arts organization, or you have a movie theater, certain museums and the zoos and aquaria across the country who meet specific requirements can apply. Talent agents and representatives can apply. And then also one entity that owns up to 5 business entities may also be eligible for the grant if all 5 of those businesses within that one entity are also eligible. Now, you must have been in business and operational as of February 29th, 2020.
Okay.
Now, this is the big deal. If you want this grant, you cannot get a PPP loan this year.
Okay.
It's one or the other, because essentially PPP is a grant, right? Yeah, because it's 100% forgivable.
Right.
So you cannot get both. So you got to make up your mind and a decision on that. And I believe the grant limit is $10 million. So it's bigger than PPP.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah, but everybody's not going to get 10 million, So, and I think there's only 50 billion maybe in this, but think of all the movie theaters you've seen across the country.
Of course.
And the little area stage and the little stage there and the museum around the corner. And, it's a lot of venues. I mean, I was just last night down in South Dade, and they're beautiful. I mean, that's sort of what South Dade is trying to be known for, is being this wedding destination. They have venues everywhere. So everybody's not going to get $10 million for sure. Now, applications are not yet available. But what people can do now, if they believe they want to apply for this grant, is they'll have to register their business in SAM. SAM is the System for Award Management. It's the federal government's sort of database and for giving money to organizations. If you're not in SAM, no money for you.
Right.
Okay? No shuttered venue operators grant, no any other kind of grant the federal government gives out.
I see.
Federal contracts. So you have to be in SAM, sam.gov.
Okay.
And there's no cost to being in SAM. So if you get somewhere in some kind of crazy website and money's being asked for, you're in the wrong place. So get out of that. SAM, like my Uncle Sam. .gov, and you go in there, you're going to need your Dun and Bradstreet number. You're going to need some various different things to complete the process. But they're all things as a business owner. right? It's your name, it's your tax ID number, it's your,
Right.
you know. So get that registration done. That's something you can do now while you wait for the application to come out. Then hopefully that'll go well enough so that if, you know, in terms of the timing, that if you are not, you don't end up with a grant, you can still apply for PPP potentially.
Okay. Okay. Right. So do you know when the application is going to come out, or it's just
Any
kind
day now.
of,
Hopefully very soon. You
okay.
know, we're working really hard on that. It's very challenging to implement that.
Yeah. And a lot, obviously, like we were just discussing, you know, it's theaters, performing arts centers, etc., were shut down. You know, when you can't have, you know, events with large crowds. So this definitely will help fill that gap.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention about the PPP round 2, if you're a second timer to the PPP, one of a really important thing that I neglected to mention, and I want to catch up on it now, is that in order to be eligible for the second round of PPP, you have to have gotten the first one last year, but also you have to have 300 or less employees, and you have to have a 25% reduction in your gross receipts. So, you know, you've got to make sure that you have that. And if you have that 25% reduction, and how do we compare? We compare apples with apples. So if you're going to show us your first quarter 2019, you have to show us first quarter 2020.
Okay.
Third quarter 19, third quarter 2020.
Okay. Now that's good to know, because I did see there were some limitations. Now, if you didn't receive over, say, 150,000, does that still apply to you, or as long as you're applying for a second time, no matter how much your loan was the first time?
Correct. No matter what your loan amount was last time, you have to have a reduction of 25% in your gross revenues.
Okay. That's good to know then.
So I would just say, because I know you're a lawyer and everything, you know, folks, you know, this money is if you need it.
Right. No,
You
of
need
course.
it. And that's, you know, if you need it, that's fine. You should get it. One of the things that you'll see embedded in all of this stuff is the federal government reserves the right to come and look at your books. So you've got to maintain your records. I believe it's for 6 years after the PPP.
Okay.
And if we decide that you you know, committed any kind of fraud against the government in obtaining these funds, there are civil and criminal penalties that go along with them. So
Right. So
just
this
keep
is
that in mind.
serious. Yeah, no, it's serious, especially as we saw here in South Florida, you know, in the newsreels, people buying expensive cars. You know, we saw some of the news in Miami, and you
You
know,
know, they're going under the jail. Under.
Lamborghini. It's like, come on. So yeah, obviously, it's you need it. If you need it, apply.
By all means,
Yeah,
get
if
it.
you don't play with it. You don't want to be
You
going.
don't want to be the one the federal government decides to make an example of. That's all I'm saying.
No. I agree with you. And then I saw that we just kind of had a slide here on the PPP loan application process.
Right.
It kind of just takes you through. It's a good reminder, especially for people who are applying for the first time, what the process looks like.
Yeah. You can find a lender on our website, sba.gov/lender match. If you are curious about all things PPP and the rules and the data, you can go to our website, sba.gov/PPP, and you'll see that with PPP and EIDL, Florida, the state of Florida, we're number 4 in the nation, behind California, New York, and Texas. We are the state that has done more loans and worth more in PPP and EIDL throughout the nation. So we like to think of ourselves as being responsible for that. I think it has a lot to do with Florida companies being awesome and its entrepreneurs being amazing. So if you need this loan, please reach out. And, you know, if you need anything from us locally at SBA, we're available. Our local website is sba.gov/ South Florida. And if you go to that website, you can sign up for our newsletter by scrolling down to the bottom of the page, right-hand corner, or right kind of when you land there in the middle is our calendar of events. We do daily sessions on PPP, whether it's first round, second round, forgiveness. We do in English and Spanish, and we do question and answer sessions. You can just come on, ask your question and get off, or you can sit there for the whole hour. It's up to you. We do that in English and Spanish as well.
Okay, I love that. And I love that reminder on there with regard to the deadline that we mentioned. You know, sometimes what they say, you have to repeat it at least, 3 times?
At least.
Thinking,
March 31st.
2021.
Or until the money runs out. Yeah. So don't wait for that.
You don't want to be in that category. I know you had a couple other slides you wanted to go through. If you want to go through that quickly. Okay.
Oh, no, that's a confusing matrix. But, you know, it sort of just says, you know, if you're applying for PPP, you know, this, you know, is what the deal is. If you just look at the first column going down, PPP, and then the second one going across, notice how if you're applying for PPP, you cannot apply for shuttered venue, right? So it's not eligible, right? So it's, you know, got to be mindful of that. But, you know,
I love that.
If you read it, it makes sense.
Right.
But who wants to read all that?
No, I hear you. But I like that it reminds you, if you apply for the PPP, it tells you what you are eligible for and what you're not eligible for. So I like that.
Right.
We'll share.
Right.
Okay. And then we'll go
all of our resources there. So I mentioned our local website. We have a YouTube channel that you all can see our content. We're putting new content up every week. We're engaging in developing right now some content around government contracting because the well of government contracting information is so deep.
Yeah.
So we're doing little 10 minutes, you know, what's a capability statement? What's the woman-owned small business contracting program? How do I get certified? Things like that. Right. Just little bits and pieces so people can eat that elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something we'll get to as well. I know last year we had a session scheduled in April in advance to talk about the 8A program.
And what happened? We got overtaken by COVID.
Yep. And so we switched that into a PPP information session, which people appreciated and was well attended. So
I'm so glad.
So everyone take advantage of these local resources out there. As Althea shared, they're here to help. They have these weekly sessions that we publish and post on our social media because we have our programs. But if you can't make it, we definitely want you to be able to participate in the different virtual programming that the SBA is offering. So I thank you for joining us today. This was very informative. I mean, there's a well of information out there, and, you know, people are searching and Googling if they have time, you know, in between them trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my business? And so they can get confused, but this was a very good way that you kind of went through each of the programs. And although I've been reading up on it, there were things that I didn't know that I learned today. So I thank you for that, because, you know, we get asked questions. And so now I can say, hey, I heard it from Althea.
That's right.
But you can jump on an SBA session. You can also go to their website. They got a YouTube station so that you can understand the process that you have to go through as well.
That's right. We want you to be successful. So if there's anything we can do in that vein, please do let us know. And thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, this was fun and informative, and we'll be sure to have you back. We are going to have that 8A session.
Okay, great.
We'll get through this coronavirus, but, you know, that's definitely a great program to grow our businesses. And so we're focused on that. So we will definitely have that session. So thank you once again.
Oh, perfect.
Good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care, everyone.
All right. Now, thank you all for joining us here today. This is just an example of one of the great programs that we're going to continue to provide you, because we want to make sure that you are staying informed, you understand what's going on, and you understand what you have to do to get this PPP and other forms of funding from the SBA. We know that businesses are hurting out there, but we need you to understand that there is help. We know, members, that we've helped get through this process, that the PPP loan and the EIDL has helped them survive the coronavirus, right? It has helped them survive this pandemic that has hurt businesses. And that's what we want for you all, to survive, for you to get beyond this, and for you to, in the end, thrive. So once again, thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you on the next video.